It's late evening. The outside world is still buzzing. Distant traffic, muffled laughter from somewhere down the street, a notification lighting up your phone. But inside your space, it's quiet. The light is soft. Maybe there's a cup of tea going cold on the table. A screen glows in front of you, not for distraction, but for comfort. And there's a strange kind of peace here, a stillness that doesn't feel empty. It feels full. Yet somewhere in the back of your mind there's a whisper. Shouldn't I be out there? Shouldn't I be doing more, being more? Because the world has a script for what a man is supposed to look like. And this doesn't quite fit it. But here's what almost nobody understands about this. You've probably been told, directly or indirectly, that staying home too much means something is wrong. That it's laziness, or avoidance, or worse, a lack of ambition. The loud world rewards visibility, movement, noise. So when you choose stillness, it gets misread. People assume you're hiding, or that you're missing out. But that assumption is built on a shallow understanding of how human energy actually works. Because not all withdrawal is weakness, and not all solitude is escape. Sometimes it's precision, and the real mistake isn't that you prefer being at home. It's that you've been judging yourself through a lens that was never designed for you. That changes everything. There's a pattern that explains this, something most people feel, but very few can name. It's what I call the selective energy loop. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The selective energy loop is how certain people, especially men who prefer staying home, regulate their mental, emotional, and social energy. Instead of constantly spending it outward, they cycle it inward first, then outward with intention, not randomly, not reactively, but deliberately. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being selective. The problem is, the modern world is built against this loop. Everything is designed to keep you externally engaged. Social expectations, endless notifications, the subtle pressure to always be doing something visible. Even masculinity itself has been shaped into performance. Be active, be dominant, be everywhere. So when a man chooses stillness, it doesn't just look different. It looks wrong. And over time, that creates friction, because part of you feels aligned in solitude, while another part feels like it's falling behind. That internal conflict isn't random. It's conditioning. And it's been quietly working against you for years. The selective energy loop works in 3 phases, and once you understand them, your behavior starts making sense. The first phase is energy preservation. Your brain isn't wired to constantly engage with everything around you. It filters. It protects. Think of your attention like a battery, not a faucet. You can't just leave it running all day without consequence. So, staying home isn't always avoidance. Sometimes it's your system conserving power, especially if you're someone who processes deeply, because depth requires energy, and your mind knows that. The second phase is internal processing. This is where most people misunderstand you, because from the outside it looks like you're doing nothing. But internally, you're active. You're replaying conversations, analyzing patterns, connecting ideas that most people miss. Your brain is like a workshop that only functions properly when the noise is turned down. Too much external input, and the system jams. So you retreat, not to escape reality, but to make sense of it. And that's not weakness. That's cognitive discipline. The third phase is intentional engagement. When you do step out, socially, professionally, emotionally, it's not random. It's focused. You don't just show up everywhere. You show up where it matters. That's why your conversations tend to be deeper, your decisions more calculated, your presence more noticeable, even if it's less frequent. Because you're not scattered. You're concentrated, like a spotlight instead of a floodlight, and that difference changes how you experience the world. So let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that when you force yourself to be constantly social, you feel drained in a way that doesn't quite make sense? But when you spend time alone, you feel clearer. That's not coincidence. That's your system trying to reset the loop. Picture a 34-year-old man, works a stable job in a busy office. People around him are constantly networking, going out, staying visible. He tries to keep up. After work, he forces himself into social settings, dinners, gatherings, events. And at first, it feels like progress. But slowly, something shifts. He starts feeling exhausted, not physically. Conversations feel shallow. Noise feels heavier. Even small interactions begin to drain him. So he pulls back, starts spending evenings at home, reading, thinking, working quietly on things nobody else sees. At first, guilt creeps in. It feels like he's falling behind. But then, something unexpected happens. Clarity. Ideas start forming. Decisions become sharper. He begins focusing on fewer things, but doing them better. Months later, his career improves. His relationships become more intentional. His confidence grows, not from being seen more, but from understanding himself better. He didn't withdraw from life. He recalibrated his loop. That quiet evening you keep returning to, the one where everything slows down, where the world feels distant but your mind feels sharper. That's not you missing out. That's you aligning. Because the goal was never to be everywhere. It was to be present where it counts. You weren't failing to be social. You were protecting the depth most people never develop. And once you stop fighting that, everything starts to feel lighter. More intentional. More yours. The world rewards noise. But clarity is built in silence. Tell me in the comments, when do you feel most like yourself? Around people or alone? If this is the kind of perspective that makes you see yourself differently, subscribe. We go deeper every week on Mind Beneath.